Next, 6 months. Everybody.
For oh, that's why people are joining because they can't hear us. Hold on. Can you hear me now? Let's test. Post on Twitter if you can hear me. That's cool. I should check the YouTube stream. Hold on, they're probably talking about it here. Okay, is it working now? Wait, is the audio working now on YouTube? Or do I have to restart the stream? Oh, people are joining. Oh, that's cool too. Yeah, you can join in here. Okay, hold on. So I'll just let me just. Can you hear audio now on the YouTube? Okay, cool. Sound is here. Okay, I'll continue. I'm just like introducing myself. It's okay. You guys didn't really miss anything. Okay, cool. So what I was talking about, this is like my first startup really. So we can just like watch this video and I can talk over it while we're watching it. So basically, like Halsey, the CNET's founder, he made like 100 million in his startup, and he went looking for a way to revitalize horse racing through technology. And he found my professor because at the time I was working at a defense company in Massachusetts, Mercury. I was like an early CUDA engineer. I was like helping them upgrade their scientific functions and make them faster, basically. And so that's how he found me. My professor had this algorithm. You can kind of see it. That basically it takes two cameras and lets you like reconstruct the intermediate views. So we basically like created a real-time matrix effect around like 2010. But my professor, he didn't get it to work in real time. So that's why they found me, and this is like the early CUDA days. And so what we did was we figured out like GPU memory algorithm tricks to like optimize it like 1,000% and get it to work like this in literally real time. You can kind of see me like playing with it. And this mansion that I'm demoing in was the mansion that like Halsey flew me out to, which is kind of fun. There's like a starter story article out there about me, and like in San Francisco there's a mansion called it's like 3800 Washington Street, and it was like built after this like famous mansion in France, but basically it survived the 1908 earthquake. And it has like this, I have photos, hold on. I have photos in my, this is the mansion. So he flew me out Halsey flew me out to this mansion and our team. So we hired a team for my startup and my girlfriend, and we had like this, we went and lived in this like posh mansion in San Francisco, and it had like this ballroom in the basement with Stravinsky. But basically we tried to build like 3D sports. And essentially, the problem, like, because it was novel for sports around that time, we got to demo to all the big media executives globally, including like B Sky B in Europe, SES Astro in Asia. I know we have a lot of Asian users, and CBS, NBC, Comcast, Fox. I demoed to Leslie Moonves in the US. He came out to our like mansion in Bel Air. Actually, hold on, let me show you a photo of the mansion in Bel Air. That was fun. So, let's see. So we lived in this mansion in San Francisco, which is still there. You can go check it out. It's this huge thing. And then like he drove us down to this other mansion in Bel Air, this one. Okay. And it's still there. It's 822 Sorbonne. And like, because the mansion didn't really matter, but what we were doing with sports was novel. Around like 2011, no one was really doing anything novel with sports. So because we were like doing 3D stuff with sports, we got to demo with all the media executives globally, like I just mentioned. And so, but the feedback they gave us was that the majority of sports fans, they don't. This was actually where we demoed. It was kind of cool. We built like a soundproof demo room back there with 3D audio and things. This is where our team worked. It was a really cool place. Basically, the feedback we got from customers was the majority of sports fans, oh cool, we got more people, don't like interacting, and they don't like 3D. What they really enjoy is like sitting back on the couch and watching a crystal clear HD broadcast. And they're right. They made like, that was literally the feedback Leslie Moonves gave me on the demo. And so they made billions of dollars doing that, but what they actually wanted was the ability to like move the broadcast camera on demand to wherever you wanted. And you can kind of see it now because you understand their like motivation back then. Around 2011, they now have this, like in NFL, they have this camera that kind of flies in and stuff. And like the Yankees have that replay thing. So they're like kind of building that stuff. but like what they basically wanted was like a photorealistic thing, and they wanted to charge like on-demand fees over a TV network. So they were still kind of old school, but that's what they wanted. So we set out to basically build that. So that was my first startup. We raised like 3.9 million in total. We raised 3.2 million with Halsey, and then after that I raised another like 700,000 on my own. But essentially, let's see here. Yeah, we built this kind of 3D reconstruction system that let you place arbitrary cameras in like a stadium and actually reconstruct in real time in 3D, like up to like finger accuracy. And that's what you kind of need to do to get photorealistic real-time 3D projection. You can kind of project from all the cameras and make it photorealistic. And this kind of, you might see technology like this today, but this was 10 years ago. I was building this 10 years ago, literally. And so we were very early. So what happened with that? So basically I raised like 3.9 million in total for that. And I ended up selling this to a startup called Standard Cognition in San Francisco. So they still exist. You can go look them up, Standard AI. And they do analytics now for like retail. You can see my like Twitter mentions. It's kind of funny. But they do like analytics for retail. And basically they needed me because like if you know computer vision at all, like the accepted solution for getting a bunch of cameras in the same coordinate system is something called bundle adjustment. And if you don't know what that means, which is most people, it's basically like an algorithm that was like used for like still used now actually. It's a way to get like all the same cameras to understand that like this bowl is at XYZ, but each camera has their own XYZ, right? So how do you get them all in the same XYZ, basically? So I had an algorithm to do that, which I built in my first startup like 10 years ago. And Standard Cognition CEO Jordan and their CTO David Vladman, they found me because I had built and published my videos and my work and things like that, because I had actually solved this problem. The accepted solution would maybe get you to feet accurate. It was something called bundle adjustment, and they were PhD physicists. You can go look up Standard. They're brilliant people. I'm not nothing on them. They're very smart founders. But the accepted published open source solution is something called bundle adjustment, and it gets you to like kind of feet accurate in like when you're trying to get to like very precise things across many different cameras, because they kind of add up the error across cameras. In my first startup, I created this algorithm that didn't do that. It kind of essentially solved it in parallel, but projected all the cameras to a new coordinate system, and then did a reverse projection using a nonlinear solver to basically get the error down to from inch, like feet to inch accurate, basically. And I helped them launch their first store on Market Street. So if you lived in San Francisco, there was this store on Market Street that was called like Standard Store that you could walk into, and you like, this is the website. You can kind of like see, like it's kind of like Amazon Go. You could walk into and pick up things off the shelf. Amazon Go cheated actually. These guys actually built it. They had like computer vision, like actual computer vision doing this, and like so it was brilliant. But maybe they might have been too early. This might probably like take off in like 5 or 10 years too. That's kind of like really cool. So like I helped them basically go from 1 camera to 40 cameras. I literally helped them set up the first 40 cameras on Market Street in San Francisco to help them launch their first store. And if they didn't have my algorithm, they would have been at feet accurate. I got them to inch accurate. Because like my algorithm, it worked in a different way. Like I don't want to, like most of you probably non-technical, but basically it does something called space carving. If you want to ask me questions, feel free to. I'll go back through the YouTube at the end of the YouTube comments and like the questions here at the end of the call, and then we can answer questions if anyone is actually really interested in the details. But it was really cool what we did. We never really published it, and it's actually still state of the art. So we have some kind of edge even in like the current like robotics like startup ecosystem, which is really exciting and things like that. So anyway, so we built this. Standard Cognition bought this technology for me. That was around like 2018, and then I basically like went viral because like they paid me well enough that I was kind of like, I retired around 2018 and I started like digital nomading. You can find my Instagram. Or it's my dog's Instagram, and we just kind of like went digital nomading around the US and traveling around, and it was around 2018. So we eventually got stuck in around like North Carolina when COVID happened. And that was kind of like a transformative experience for me. Like it was very traumatizing. Like I think for all of us, it was probably very traumatizing, right? Like everyone here probably experienced COVID in a different way. And for me, I was like retired and I was like driving around, and we got like my best friend, like the first way I experienced it, my best friend lost his business. So he had an events business. He was my best friend in college, and he was my roommate, and he was very successful with the events business, but events went to zero. So I immediately started to like help him rebuild online, and he was successful. And actually, we built something called Field to Table. You guys can check it out. It's in Seattle. They do events with the Seattle Seahawks actually now. Let me see. They had some photos of this before, but they had done events with the Seattle Seahawks and things like. If anyone's in Seattle, it's cool. Anyways, basically, it was successful, but like. If you understand startups, this is not normal. This is like a survivorship bias. You shouldn't believe that was. And basically, eventually, after I helped him, I donated my time to help hundreds of people globally, and that was kind of like the impetus of starting my last few startups. Was basically I could kind of build anything, and I was very quickly mentoring like hundreds of people globally, and people like referred me. I was like mentoring people in France and India, and literally homeless people who could only meet with me on a phone or at a library. And I was happy to do it because I didn't need a job. I had my time. Everyone is struggling during the pandemic, and I was basically trying to help them. And essentially, it was like most of them failed. That's the base. That's why it was kind of like traumatizing in that way. That like if you understand startups, like most startups fail. And I tried to mentor them. I tried to build whatever I could for them, but it was very hard to do. And so that was kind of the impetus of me starting my like startup cheat layer. Basically, I wrote some articles that went viral, and I started trying to. We got early access to the OpenAI API because my friend went to their hackathon in San Francisco. So we had this startup called Cheat Layer. And I can go over like Ron's history, or maybe like we can do another meetup with Ron, and he can explain his own history. We've done like some interviews and things like that. But basically, I was trying to help people. I realized when I was helping all these people, a lot of the things I was doing was kind of similar. Like I was helping them set up the business, like automate marketing, like set up their landing page, like A/B test their landing page. A lot of these things for a lot of businesses are very similar because the economy has kind of evolved over decades to this, and there are certain things you do to just do well. So that's normal. And so that means there's a lot of scaffolding that is very similar across every business. So our thesis was that we could use, this was around like 2021, basically. We got early access to OpenAI's API. And our thesis was we could automate a lot of the things like marketing, sales, that I was repeating across all the people I was mentoring, hundreds of people globally. And it turned out to be true. So we were literally the first startup approved by OpenAI to to sell GPT-3 for automation in August 2021. And like, so you can like ask ChatGPT about that. We stay so basically what happened was, let me see, is my yeah. So we started we launched Cheat Layer. This was my second to last startup around 2021, and in 2021 it was much harder to get approved to get access to the OpenAI APIs and things like that. And so basically we were like a year before ChatGPT. So we started building automations like a year. We were literally the only automation startup on the planet that was using LLMs in 2021. We were before Adept.ai. We were before ChatGPT. And you can go look up Cheat Layer. You can see what we did, everything we did. We sold on AppSumo. We made like $700K on AppSumo. And we kind of launched, we kind of went viral. So because we were so early, you can kind of see what happened to us. We won Product Hunt once before ChatGPT. We won number 1. And then we won number 2, which is interesting, like around here. And that was 2 weeks literally after ChatGPT launched. So this is like, if you understand sales, this may be something interesting to you. I had a sales team before ChatGPT launched, and we had to explain to everyone what we were doing, because like a year before ChatGPT, no one understood what using LLMs to automate was. We were literally the only startup in the planet using LLMs to automate in 2021. No one else was doing it. We started in like August 2021. Our application to OpenAI was literally function calling, actually. I think they copied us. Like they probably copied a lot of things we did. It's okay, it's fine. Like I'm comfortable now, so I don't care, but like it's just like very interesting to learn how this market works. And so anyways, we appreciate what OpenAI did, because right after they launched ChatGPT, our sales team no longer had to explain what we were doing to every single customer. Like it exploded like this because they basically created the market. So this is like an interesting thing. If you build products in startups, don't worry about competitors. Like they might actually create the market for you. Like think about objectively where you stand compared to them. And they might they might actually be helping you for free, actually, in that case. So think about that. So that's very interesting. So what happens, you can kind of see this explosion would not have happened if ChatGPT didn't exist. So we kind of exploded. CheatLayer, this was our last product, exploded to 60K MRR that first month after winning Product Hunt, which is kind of like what we're doing in the next week. We hit 8K MRR, which was exciting at the time for me. And then we eventually grew to like 60K MRR and then like plateaued, because most of our early customers were ChatGPT hype essentially, and we didn't reach something called product market fit, and we didn't meaningfully help my customers who were struggling during the pandemic, because even till today I literally meet with people who are homeless, people who can only meet me on a phone or at a library. And I mentor hundreds of like founders globally. Oh, sorry, someone wants to join. Oh, he dropped out. Okay, Luke, if you want to join it, it's fine. And so like that kind of grounds me, and that drives me to build these kinds of playing field leveling products. And that's why I'm like very generous with a lot of the things I do, and like I don't need to make money. Like I'm more concerned about like building something meaningful, and I'm very concerned about what's going to happen over the next few years. And so like that's basically what I spend all of my time doing, is kind of leveling the playing field and teaching people how to survive maybe like the next few years. Sorry about my notifications. And so we after CheatLayer, you can understand that like we had like demos, tutorials, boot camps. We had multiple boot camps with hundreds of users like early in the GPT era, and we like grew to like 60K MRR. But every time after like the tutorials, like usage would drop off. And so what that meant was it didn't meaningfully help the customers I was helping. And so the insight from CheatLayer was basically a no-code automation tool. So hold on, let me check if there's any questions in the live stream. Okay, we can start next. You got sound? Are everyone good on YouTube? Okay, cool. So like basically the problem with CheatLayer was we kind of learned this like being in the trenches. You guys understand being in the trenches, right? Like is that like I met hundreds of people globally, people who are literally homeless and struggling, and if you build like no code automation tools for them, it leaves the burden on them. My thesis is no code doesn't need to exist anymore, because you can kind of generate code now, and code kind of fills in the gaps between no code tools. But even those tools, like the coding tools, like Claude Code and stuff like that, that leaves the burden on you to like prompt how to solve the problem. And so most people don't know how to solve the problem in the best way. And so there's some kind of like, you'll probably notice, there's like a gap between expectation and results that you see on Twitter with people who are getting like millions of dollars in like a few weeks, like, and things like that. Or like, and people who like they can't get, like wasting, basically most people are wasting money. And the problem is that it's kind of like a survivorship bias. The current AI tools only help people who are already good at it. They basically only accelerate people who are already good at it. So that was kind of like the problem we tried to solve in my last startup, Agent Space, which just got it got acquired like 3 months ago. You can kind of go to the website. It just tells you like it tells you like what we learned. But essentially, we set up the system that automates like hundreds of thousands of agents across hundreds of phones globally that automate posting content, A/B testing, and basically controlling agents in a way that not just posts slop, but actually like generates better content over time and meaningfully help my customers, because most of them were kind of like struggling to get from 0 to 1. And then so we built that around like last year. So like fast forward after Cheat Layer, we got many investment offers, and like we built Cheat Layer, but it was kind of like it didn't really meaningfully solve product market fit. So I pivoted to Agent Space, which was vertical agents essentially, and it tries to solve the last mile for customers and tries to basically kind of solve the problem that most people don't know what they know. And so if you leave, like most AI tools kind of leave the burden on you to like figure out what to do, right? So what we're trying to solve with this latest product is ambient agents, where it shouldn't, like AI agents should make life easier. They shouldn't make life harder, right? Why should you need to learn how to do skills or Claude bots or whatever all this other shit is? It shouldn't make it harder for you, right? It should reduce the amount of brain fog every day, and just kind of agents should kind of take over. So that's kind of like the vision that we have, and like that was like kind of the impetus of me and Ron getting together in like 1 or 2 months ago. So like after I like basically Agent Space, I grew that. Our big insight in Agent Space. Sorry, let me quickly like finish up. Our big insight in my last startup that I sold was that our thesis was AI video we could like automate AI video tools. VO3 was just getting good enough, and we could help our customers like explode or something. That was our thesis. Like they could make a lot of money with AI video tools. I'm sure you see that on like Twitter. What we learned by launching the product, and you kind of like maybe understand like my way of doing things, is we objectively met hundreds of customers who were like making millions of dollars in sales. And we met people who were also using AI video tools, who were also making millions of dollars in sales. And we kind of, like, if you look at the market, what seems to be happening is you will definitely find those people who are able to use AI video tools to make money. But it's essentially those people who figure out how to prompt the tools and the market to make that money. So you have to find those people. So it is like, if you're trying to sell this as a product to a new person, it's not like useful to resell it. It's like logical fallacy. And if you look at like maybe the other AI video tools like Icon.me, Arcads, they have like bad reviews because customers wasted a lot of money on ads. And essentially they kind of learned the fact that we kind of learned. We also had like account executives that you need like someone, like you need that creative executive to actually like figure out what resonates with the customers. It's usually not the agents who are able to generate it yet. Maybe the CDance, like the latest CDance model is just good enough. But in our data, we posted like tens of thousands of videos with millions of views, and very clearly AI videos were not making any sales. And so we pivoted and we kind of focused on our customers who already were making sales, but they had the problem of scaling up those sales. So what we did was we built an engine. This is what Agent Space does. This product itself has millions in sales. It's essentially like an extender, a wall extender thing. And what our agent did was it generated like thousands of like many different variations of this. Let me see if I can get to like let's see. We generate like thousands of different like variations of this that get still like millions of views, and then we're able to repost them. So this like has 190,000 likes, and then we repost them. This is what my last product did. We just kind of repost them, and they still get like 70,000 likes and like 20,000 likes. And the reason is because the underlying product resonates with customers. Something about the construction of the video resonates with customers, like the hook. how it's built is actually very good. So if you just kind of repost these videos with slight variations, the algorithm will boost you. So this is like kind of like, oh sorry, someone wanted to join. This is kind of like what we've been learning for the last 8 years. We've been getting very good at promoting products, e-commerce products, automating social agents, and automating phones. So also in my last startup, you can go look at the Starter Story article on me. Like we went viral for automating Instagram and TikTok, and you can look at the specific algorithms that worked well for us back then. And essentially back then we were just kind of like automating liking and following, and maybe some of you are old enough to remember that era in social automation, and it helped our customers back then because like I grew to like thousands of followers. You can look at I don't use Instagram, and like some of our customers grew to hundreds of thousands of followers. They were like, we had famous actors, actresses, one foreign government official. And back then, we could only help them by telling them to basically generate better content. Because the customers who were actually doing really well were the ones who had better content. And if you were liking and following, that could only maybe get you like a 1-to-1 ratio at best. Like if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And so like this last product that I sold kind of like essentially solved that problem. It automated A/B testing, but AI video is just kind of like not there yet. And this is probably a new market maybe that like it's just like you guys can maybe take advantage of if you want to. As soon as like AI video models are good enough, I don't think Seedance is good enough. Maybe you can test this thesis. You can basically take over this entire market. There will be a cusp where you don't have to use these real videos. You can just generate exactly these real videos. And I think the problem is that every time every one of these models come out, I try to generate all of our top like videos that generated the most revenue, and they just kind of fail. They just like, there's some like, you understand, there's like some hallucination or something like that basically. And so you can try, but I suspect there will be a cusp where things will like kind of explode. So anyways, we grew this startup to like 27K MRR. We got into the Antler Accelerator in New York City. That was in December, January, and like 9 months after that, we sold it. So what happened was one of our customers, like I'm very friendly with all the founders in the space. We met like most of the founders in the space, which is kind of like how we understood that like AI video doesn't really work yet. It's kind of like a scam, but like it's almost there. So I don't think they're doing bad. Actually, everyone who's early is probably like just kind of like setting up for the cusp when it happens. So they will probably make a lot of, like Icon.me, Arcad, they will probably make a lot of money. But because they have the customer base and they've just been building the UI UX essentially, but it's just not there. So what happened was like most of our customers they had products that were making millions in sales, but they had real UGC. We were scaling them up. We got to 27K MRR. One of our customers was a competitor called Vireal or Cracked. You can go try their product. So they like integrated some of our technology, and basically they were using our API and very intrigued because we were making a lot more money than them in the AI video space. But I wanted to shut it down because we were like making a lot more money doing other things. And so I wanted to shut it down and use it personally because my thesis is that some of these tools, you can actually make a lot more money if you use it rather than selling it. So some of my products we don't even talk about or sell, but they make me a lot of money. And so it's very interesting. That might be like a unique thing in history. Generally in history, you want to sell the shovels. So that's bad advice. You should not do that. But in the last like 6 months or so, we might be in a unique time in history where you could build something that no one else has and make a lot more money than selling it. Because like a trading agent, for example, that's one of the things I have. If the market had a trading agent, the market would basically eliminate the advantage and you would no longer make money if you tried to sell it. So that's one of the things you should keep secret. So there's other things like this you should probably keep secret, and our product helps you build those things actually. So okay, so sorry, some people wanted to join. Oh man, okay, it's okay. I'm too slow on this. I'll be faster. I'm sorry guys. Okay, so anyways, so that's like basically kind of like the history of like my last startup. It kind of got sold, and then like after it sold, I immediately bought a Porsche and drove cross country. I was on the East Coast, and we're like in San Francisco now, and like around like December, I met up with my co-founder Ron. He was actually the manager, like he ran the investment firm that first invested in my first startup with Halsey Minor and Minor Studios that we raised like for this like the 3D stuff and sports and stuff. And so he vetted me. He's the one who actually found me. Actually, it wasn't Halsey. It was like Ron, my current co-founder. And so like I've known him for a while, I've trusted him for a while, and like we've helped each other over the years and things like that. And then so like I finally came out here and we were finally like I guess like aligned in like having free time to work together. And so around December we started working on this like wearables. This is actually the Meta display glasses. So I can actually see something here. I don't think you guys can even see like I can actually see like a display here. And so we tried to kind of like so essentially after I sold my last startup, like I started this private research lab to altruistically help people. And like there's been like many projects over the years that could have probably helped people, like my trading agents, like my social agents, like, and a lot of these things that could have helped like a lot of people, but like it's hard to solve that problem at scale. And so I tried to like kind of think about how to solve this problem at scale. And generally you can't do it with nonprofits because you need to make a lot of money. And so I've been like building these products in a like not a nonprofit but a research lab that builds possibly like consumer products and licensing products that could make a lot of money, but we use that money to subsidize like altruistic efforts, like maybe pushing Web3 forward. That would be very altruistic effort. I think like making banks transparent and like closing down all the banks that keep crashing. Like the reason Halsey and me like split up because was because of the '08 crash. A bank crashed. He had like a big $50 million loan in Charlottesville and he had to file for bankruptcy. And so I had to split off and like there was no legal way to work together. We had to like I had to raise another 700,000 and things like that. So like there's a lot of altruistic things I can do now that I have kind of like the time and money that I'm like that's why I started this like last research lab. And so for the last month or so, even before OpenClaw and Claude, like around maybe like Claude Code existed, but they kind of figured it out like a few weeks before they figured it out, like months before they figured it out. I was telling my friend, my founder friends, some of you might remember in like the Discord, I was telling you guys to build this thing called like a local box for non-technical people that gave them access to GitHub libraries. Because if you're non-technical, you probably don't know what is in GitHub, but essentially you can kind of like search on Google GitHub problem and find a solution, but it's hard to use. Like GitHub, like converting video or something. And you have to use some scammy online tool or whatever, but developers know this trick for like the last few decades and non-technical people haven't had access. And that was like basically what CloudBot kind of is. And that's kind of like what our agents kind of do, but CloudBot kind of captured the zeitgeist very well. And they did very well. There's nothing wrong with what they did. But we were like working on this for like a month or so before CloudBot and things. And then so we started, but our thesis was that like, we started testing on these wearables like these. I should actually, hold on. Let me put on these Android XR glasses because you can see what I'm talking about if I like connect them. But basically like it, hold on, let me see this. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. So you can kind of see like what I'm seeing, right? And you can kind of see like this display. So Ron was working on, like he had different motivations. Like he was working on like construction and problems like that and things like that.
So yeah,
and like
yes.
so basically, he was like working on like solving the problem of the upcoming like robotics revolution and like how to like translate like the problems that are like arriving like in like hold on like let's reconnect this. Okay. Oh no. Alright, let me reset this up again. Hold on. Okay, it's working now. Okay, there we go. All right, you can kind of see. Okay, so basically, he was working on the problem of like the oh, hold on. Do you mind like hey James, do you mind like going to the other room? Thanks. So basically, he was working on the problem of like solving construction for building like construction buildings, and also the problem of like robotics maybe like taking over and replacing a lot of like the manual labor jobs in like the next like few years. And like a lot of his friends in San Francisco have been trying to build like a lot of like housing and things, but they're usually restricted by like permitting